Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about exactly how long the squeeze is likely to last. I want to come at this from two different angles. Firstly, trading halts, and how long are they likely to last? And then secondly, I want to talk about liquidations and how long they might take to happen. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, I want to start by setting the scene, and this post says if anybody didn't know, the mother of all short squeezes will likely last days to a few weeks to hit its peak. He said they've got a lot of shares to cover, it's multiple different institutions and hedge funds that also have to cover as well, and therefore liquidations are going to take place at different price points and take different lengths of time. But let's start by talking about trading halts and circuit breaker halts and what different types of halt there are and how long each different type of halt lasts. So the first type of halt we have is what's known as a volatility halt, with a pause code of LUDP or LULD. So this stands for limit up, limit down halt because it can halt either on the way up or on the way down, obviously. It says a halt on volatility pause is one of the most common types of circuit breaker halts in the market. If a stock moves up or down too quickly within a 5-minute period, it can cause an automatic circuit breaker halt that will pause trading for 5 minutes. Now, it doesn't always last for 5 minutes. I want to give an example here of DWAC. We can see on the 21st of October, it was halted from 11:56 to 12:01, which was obviously 5 minutes. It was halted again from 12:19 to 12:24, 5 minutes, 13:15 to 13:20, 5 minutes, and so on. But then on the 22nd of October, it was halted from 9:30 all the way to 10 o'clock exactly, which is a 30-minute halt. So therefore, the LULD or the LUDP can last anywhere between 5 and 30 minutes, depending on what time of the day it is, if it's dead on 9:30, or if it's just somewhere else in the day, and also how volatile the stock is behaving at that time. Now, obviously, when AMC is squeezing, we're likely to see AMC get halted multiple times a day, every single day, for a few days or a few weeks. Obviously, when the stock is halted, no trading, so no buying or no selling can happen at that time. And obviously when AMC does squeeze, we're likely to see multiple half-hour long halts on a single day, and therefore for the majority of the day, there won't actually be much trading going on. It says this type of halt helps smooth volatility in the market and prevent flash crashes. It forces traders to take a 5-minute timeout or a half-hour timeout, research the stock, the news, and anything else. And oftentimes, if a stock is spiking up and is halted, it will reopen even higher. Now, this is definitely still the case with AMC. When AMC is being halted, other funds and institutions can still be liquidated in this time period, and they'll just queue their buy order to cover those shorts. And therefore, as soon as AMC reopens out of the halt, there'll be an entire institution with buy orders lined up to buy AMC at any price to cover their shorts. That'll obviously cause AMC to reopen higher, it will spike AMC even higher, and potentially cause another 30-minute volatility halt, in which time another fund will then be liquidated and queue their buy order. Now, when a large short hedge fund like Citadel is being liquidated, it may take multiple halts for their entire short position to be covered. For example, AMC may reopen from a halt, and then 10% of Citadel's short position will be covered, and that alone could take us into another 30-minute halt. When we reopen from that one, another 10% of Citadel's short position might be covered again, so 20% of their overall position, and then another 30-minute trading halt. And the author says, I've seen examples where a stock spikes up 10% in 2 minutes and gets halted for 5 minutes. It reopens and immediately spikes another 10% and gets halted for a second time for 5 minutes. It then reopens and spikes another 10% and gets halted for 5 minutes a third time. It reopens and then sells off 10%. For example, if paper hands are selling their shares or another institution is selling their long position, and it will get halted going back down. Again, when it then reopens for the 5th time, it's likely to spike up another 10% because another institution will be liquidated or more shares will be purchased to cover more shorts, and then it will get halted for a 6th time. Now, that's likely to happen pretty much all day, multiple days in a row, until all of the short hedge funds have finished covering their short positions. And guys, if you didn't already know, Moomoo is a brilliant commission-free broker. They also don't make their money from payment for order flow. Moomoo and Futu make their money from margin interest and also from transaction fees. And this way you can trade commission free, but you don't have to worry about payment for order flow and worry about your buy orders going through those sketchy dark pools. Moomoo also has excellent technical indicators and even publishes daily short volume on top of a number of other important pieces of information. And right now you can currently get 5 free shares valued up to $3,500 each when you sign up to Moomoo using the link in the description below and make your first deposit. 5 free shares valued up to $3,500 each is potentially up to $17,500 in free stock. Now the next type of halt is a pending news halt, which has a code of T1. Now this one isn't really too applicable to AMC, as this halt only really happens when there's maybe a merger, or a bankruptcy, or a buyout, for example. Now we also have what's called an SEC trading suspension halt, which has a code of H10. It says this one is bad. If a stock is halted by the SEC, it's typically because it's a penny stock, over-the-counter stock, or it's being used by criminals to front load or manipulate the price of the stock. So again, that's not really too applicable for AMC either. Now finally, we also have a very interesting halt here. This one's an additional information requested halt with a code of T12. It says this is typically another bad halt, which usually happens when a stock has run up a lot, but there is no reason backing the run. It says this usually happens on pump and dumps or huge short squeezes, and in most cases, when this halt is lifted, the stock will come plummeting down because there is nothing to support this drastic move. Now this one does sound a lot more like AMC, because obviously we will have a huge short squeeze and then we'll have this T12 halt after all of those short hedge funds have finished covering their shorts. And then after all of the shorts have finished covering, well, there's nothing left to squeeze as AMC will have already been squoze. And obviously at that time the stock will then come plummeting back down because there's nothing to support all the additional buying at thousands of dollars per share, because all of the shorts will have been covered. So let's talk a little bit more about that T12 halt. One of the most uncommon trading halt codes is T12, which is what was assigned to dry ship stock halt, which is just another stock listed on the stock exchange. The T12 halt code is put in place when the Nasdaq exchange requests additional information from the company. The Nasdaq exchange is likely questioning why the stock for dry ships soared from more than $5 per share to above $120 per share in just a week. Now it says dry ships did not respond to that request for comment on the stock halt, so now what? According to FINRA, a trading halt for T12 can last up to 10 business days and is issued when the SEC believes the investing public may be at risk. Now I think this halt could definitely happen. Obviously we, the retail investing public, won't be at risk, will stand to benefit massively from the short squeeze, but the SEC may determine the hedge funds to be public and they may determine the hedge funds to be at risk, which obviously they are because they're going to be liquidated. And on top of this, the SEC tends to side with the hedge funds, as we've seen this year, and therefore it really wouldn't surprise me if we do see a T12 halt for potentially up to 10 business days. So now, we know that circuit breaker halts are likely to last pretty much all day for multiple days, and the SEC could even issue a T12 halt, halting AMC for up to 10 business days. But on top of that, when the hedge funds start being liquidated, how long is that likely to take? Is that going to happen in 30 seconds? Is it going to happen instantly? Is it going to take 2 hours? Is it going to take 2 days, 2 weeks? How long is it really going to take? Taking Archegos Capital Management, for example, it took Archegos about a week to liquidate their full portfolio. Most of the liquidations happened on Friday, as Goldman Sachs sold off more than $10 billion of shares, Morgan Stanley offloaded $8 billion worth of shares, Deutsche sold off $4 billion, and some other smaller banks sold off some shares as well. On Tuesday, Nomura and Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group started selling off their shares, which was around $300 million for Mitsubishi, around $1 to $2 billion for Nomura, and then on Wednesday, Credit Suisse started selling off as well. And then again on the Thursday, Mizuho started selling off their shares as well, which is around $90 million from deals with Archegos. So overall, it took Archegos about a week to fully liquidate their entire portfolio. But the interesting thing here is that even though Archegos had some sketchy positions, they didn't have any illegal positions and they weren't trying to hide anything. Obviously, if a fund doesn't really keep track of exactly how many synthetic shares they're holding, it could take much longer to liquidate the full fund, maybe multiple weeks or even a month or two to liquidate the full hedge fund. On top of that, different funds are going to be liquidated at different price points. For example, some funds are going to be liquidated when AMC hits $80, some funds when AMC hits $100, some funds when AMC hits $200. And therefore, some funds will be liquidated on day 1 of the squeeze, but some funds, for example, may not be liquidated until day 4 or day 5 of the squeeze. And therefore, I think all in all, it may take multiple weeks, maybe even a month or two for AMC to fully squeeze to its very highest point. Now, I also wanted to talk about some more confirmation between the GameStop and Loopring partnership. We have a tweet here from Uncle Spack saying, guys, the GameStop community manager posted pictures of his metaverse home and look what's on his shelf. You can see here from his shelf in the metaverse, there's a photo frame with the Loopring versus Ethereum price. There's also some funny books at the top here called The Time Machine, The Metaverse, one called Are You Reading These?, one called NFT Drip, one Meta Future, one PFP's 102, we've got A Brave New World and Discover Discord. Now I'll actually post a link to his metaverse home down in the comments below, and you can actually walk around his home here in the metaverse, and obviously if you go up to his desk we can see here the photo frame showing Loopring and Ethereum's price. Now this is obviously the community development manager for GameStop. So why do I so often go on about Loopring and their partnership with GameStop, and why do I think that Loopring is a massive catalyst for the overall MOASS? There's a post here on Reddit that says we need a blockchain for stocks because this would solve naked shorting. A blockchain for stocks would expose synthetic shares. We'd be able to see where shares are at any moment in time and whenever necessary. And therefore naked shorting wouldn't be a thing because each share would be individually traceable and we'd be able to trace and find out when new shares were created. We could see when shares are first issued and stored at the company's sponsored bank, when shares are sold and to who, and where these came from. If this happened, then nobody could naked short. It wouldn't remove liquidity because the blockchain could process transactions in seconds. Theoretically, the blockchain would still be controlled by the SEC and everyone could download and participate in processing the stock market. He says, imagine a blockchain stock market with every share effectively being an NFT. Each share or each token could never be duplicated and everyone could see where they came from. They could still have their dark pools to send the NFT tokens on the blockchain to, and designated dark pool addresses where everyone can see. Now this could potentially be what Loopring are doing. Miss Kerry here tweeted at Loopring saying, is there any plans for a new chat system? There's many concerns with the popular ones that are currently available. Byron from Loopring replied saying, not currently, as right now we're hyper-focused on building the infrastructure necessary to make a more fair and more free financial system. He said once we deploy ZK EVM, it will be very easy for a new or existing chat app to deploy atop the ZK EVM to make it immutable or unstoppable. Now I think this is brilliant that Loopring are working towards a more fair and more free financial system. And finally for today, I wanted to quickly touch on a new all-time high in the reverse repo market. Our previous all-time high was $1.758 trillion, but yesterday on the 31st of December, we saw a whopping $1.9 trillion in that reverse repo market. I suggested back here on the 20th of December that even in 2 weeks we could see $2 trillion in the reverse repo market, which could still very possibly come to fruition. We also saw a record high of number of new parties, with 103 parties partaking in the reverse repo facility. This is massive news for the overall market, as it just goes to show just how many institutions are feeling the pinch and are on the cusp of liquidation. Guys, be sure to let me know down in the comments below how long you think the MOASS will actually last. Will it be something that happens in a few hours, or do you think it could take a few days or a few weeks or maybe even a month or two? And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my others. Alternatively, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers!